name is Opubo. The farming hiatus at the end of planting until the start of harvesting during subsistence farming is a period of reflexive planning on the post-harvest context and the advantages and hardships that may be anticipated from the context. After all, as the farming operation is not expected to be a one-off operation, but rather an ongoing operation and hence requires continuous improvement, then the looming post-harvest context is a sort of rinse-repeat circumstance that needs to be fully embraced to evaluate those operations of the key functions that require improvement of the underlying technology improvement retrofit designs. Within that scope of consideration, the adoption of methanol bioreactor for fuel resource for the electric power generation was based on the prospective production of Biotics liquid biofuels, liquid alcohol of some form, which was anticipated to be produced from the use of the farm biotics. As post-harvest promises to make available these farm waste, the task of developing and adopting the underlying technology for provisioning the Biotics liquid biofuel needs to be implemented. The development, of course, has to be built on the existing equipment, and in this case, the use of the methanol bioreactor for the production of the liquid. Notably, though, the production of the liquid biofuels from the farm's waste is due to be produced from secondary or derivative particulate waste of the initial digestion of the farm waste. Any such upgrade improvement design of the methanol bioreactor, however, must be based on the dynamics of the fermentation bioreactors, but yet to which its current primary function must be added. So then, better to improve on the existing design for alignment with anticipated issues in the use of the bioalcohol. The anticipated behavior of the fermentation bioreactor for production of the liquid biofuels. The fermentation bioreactor from which the bioalcohol is produced is more than a regular microbial suspension bioreactor of fully dissolved feed, such as sugar, in which microbes are in suspension floating around and fermenting alcohol. Rather, this bioreactor uses feed that is never fully dissolved, but a collection of particulates of the feed constituting a particulate suspension bioreactor with the microbes floating around in the suspension to create another suspension, a sort of a dual suspension. The feed particulates are the result of the design of the process equipment that shreds the feed by organic particles with a high-speed cutter impeller into puree. In effect, shredding the orange peel feed of the methanol bioreactor into a puree resulting in a particulate-laden bioreactor would not be too different from the dynamics of the bioalcohol source bioreactor, and the performance upgrade improvement design of the methanol reactor would necessarily convert its dynamic into particulate bioreactor. In synopsis then, this episode entitled Subsistence Farms Upgrade Biotics Resource Liquid Biofuel provides an improvement performance retrofit design that upgrades the biofuel production source. Design for the fermentation process for the production of liquid biofuels in subsistence farm. Implemented a more robust liquid biofuel production design. And finally, the essence of the automation controller system for integration into the farm process automation system. The driver rationale guiding the effecting of the upgrade has the object of improving on the design of the methanol production bioreactor into a form that aligns with the post-harvest liquid biofuel production process, and also to allow dynamic reset of the methanol bioreactor into the fermentation bioreactor. As is, the methanol bioreactor simply quietly produces methanol and evaporates methanol into the gas burner. Methanol systems subsume that the production is exclusively methanol, and it might be. If not, then the bioreactor is filling up with other alcohols, which, though considered at the outset, may also have been burning at its own rate. So the upgrade designing of the methanol bioreactor actually is a first step at development of the process for the farm's liquid biofuels. The current form of the methanol reactor is being operated is not the same as a typical fermentation bioreactor, and given the divergence, improving on its operation may seem unnecessary because of the intention of integrating it into the underlying technology improvement. Yet, the changes made to the methanol process equipment must upgrade the equipment into a form that allows dynamic reset of the equipment into the fermentation bioreactor format. However, its contents of solids, the orange peel, and apple chunks are just exactly the state of the bioreactor in which the alcohol is fermented from the farm's biotic waste. Yet, the standard operation of reactors, allowing for mixed alcohols, lets stream the bioalcohol vapors evaporating from the reaction mixture and is often pumped into porous process equipment, often known as cooler condenser, designed of a simple shell and tube structure. The vapor is pumped into the tube and the cooling water is pumped through the outside in the shell jacket. The vapor condenses on the tube walls and flows downwards into a stream and on to a storage tank, providing a volume of bioalcohol for energy production. The vapor stream is then pumped into a vapor condenser, which has the same structure as the cooler condenser, but with a smaller tube, and so enables a full condensation of the vapor. The flow of the vapor and the coolant may be concentric or countercurrent. The choice mostly only affects the length of the process equipment. The conclusion that could be drawn here is that clearly, as of this point, the actions taken so far have enabled the farm to provide biofuel which can be used in any design-specific combustion technology coupled with energy transducer to provide power, both mechanical or electrical, with the choice of the final thrust being at the discretion of the farmer. The pumps of the water delivery and dispensing system now stand to be powered from the would-be derivative power as well. Admittedly, the design and fabrication of the various process equipment adopted throughout the presentation are quite challenging, but can be realized in rural communities with the skill of a blacksmith working in consultation with an engineer or two. On the other hand, in fairly developed societies, the performing of the same task would be undertaken by a machinist working in a machine shop, also working in consultation with an engineer. Worthy of note is that the choice of prospective adoption of microbial suspension homogeneous bioreactor also brings along an issue that must be contended with, though the biotic waste may have been fully recovered by the end of the process. A waste mush consisting of the dead fermenting microorganisms will obtain and will have to be disposed of. Yet even this waste can be fully utilized in the farming activities, as will be preferred presently, and used in the production of biofertilizers. And it is a wrap. And on that note, I say to you, thank you so much for having come to listen to this observation about efforts aimed at alleviating world hunger through subsistence farming by both urban dweller farmers and emergent countries small farmers. You are truly appreciated, and if you would like to get privileged viewer reader information, access podcasts of specialized content, or access even vertically integrated concepts, then I implore you to join my supporter club and enjoy that privileged status. Moreover, while still here, do please take a moment and subscribe to the channel as to be informed of the publication of every new episode as soon as it is released. Thank you. Bye. Till next episode.